Hey, what's up?
All your favorite artists.
Check it out.
Say my name.
DJ Khaled.
This is Mila J.
Bruno Mars.
On hot7025fm.com. Keep your radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. Hot 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7 on hot7025fm.com.
Ooh, happy Wednesday, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome back. I missed y'all like I do every week. Glad to talk to y'all. I finally get to take a little look at my Spider-Man cave while we have our little conversation today, First of all, let's talk about the week. I don't want to get right into the conversation. I like to ease my way into it. Y'all know me. Kind of like when you're making love. You got to ease your way into it, All right, let me stop being funny. But in all seriousness, this last week was... man, it was like a headache on top of a headache on top of a headache. However, got through it, still getting through it, still dealing with some things that are just irritable. But it's not the last day on earth, you know what I mean? So it's not like the things can't be solved. I like to believe that every problem has a solution. So, definitely is in the mindset of making sure I actually attack that solution to these problems we're having here. It's basically we had car troubles, so now we out of a car, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I'm not so much worried about the car. It's just a car. We can get another one. We have decided we don't want to do a car note. Right now we in the middle of trying to pay off some old debt so that we can possibly actually get us a home within the next year or two, clean up that credit, get that right. And we just don't want to bring any more debt into that while we're trying to, build that. So we're just going to go ahead and possibly save up. It sucks because with the kids, like they say, it takes a village, though, to raise a village. I think I heard somebody mention that earlier today. And boy, it does, because within a couple of days, we got the situation for the kids' school figured out for them to get to and from school. Work, as far as it'll go for me, man, I'm never ashamed to tell anybody I will hop on the bus fast. You know what I mean? So for the last couple of days, I busted to work, and was I upset about it? No. Did I feel embarrassed? No. I got to work. I got there on time. I got there early, actually. You know what I mean? I planned it out right, planned it out like I needed to. Only thing I'll remember is next time, man, while I'm in my suits, man, I need to go get those gel inserts. I just haven't really had to use public transportation in so long. I'm not saying I'm against using it, but I just haven't I've been blessed not to have to use it for so long that I kind of forgot that when I was on there walking around in suits on the bus, those gel inserts saved me because my feet have been killing me these last couple of days, boy. They've been killing me. But it is what it is. But I've never been ashamed to get on the bus to get to where I got to go, especially if it's to work. I'm definitely going to do it. You know what I mean? Hands down. It doesn't matter. And if we're trying to get a car, we need to save. So I'm not trying to spend money on Ubers if I don't have to, like I'm trying to save where I can, maximize the use of what we have on the resources here, cut down on a few things. I even offered to sell a lot of shit. Look at this. Look at all of this shit back here. But, my wife is more so, she's, once I broke down the plan to her, once I explained how we're going to save, we already got bills taken care of for a little while. So let's use that to our advantage. The checks I'm getting from both of these jobs, let's save those. Let's put that in the bank. Let's stack that up for about a month or two. And then around me and Junior's birthday, maybe Khalila's birthday, we'll get us a car. You know what I mean? We can go a few months to survival mode, stack up and get something we really want instead of trying to rush into something now and then getting a whole nother car note, which is a whole nother bill that we don't want to add to the plan. So we kind of, we mean hand in hand. But once I broke down the plan, once I gave all the details, it was easier to just get that conversation taken care of. Easier for her to relax and calm down and see that I had a plan, I had to figure it out, I knew what I was doing, because And again, it wasn't just me that got that taken care of. Her mom came in and was like, well, since the kids' school is next to my home, they can be over there for the weekdays of school. Now we thought about, bringing them to the school closer to home, but it's the end of the year. And when I tell y'all, man, my kids have some great friends at school that I really like that they're around. I want them to end the school year with them, and I don't want us not having a vehicle be something that they have to feel. You know what I mean? So we agreed like they only got about a month and a half left of school, of like 7 weeks left. Let's let them finish out the school year where they at. Grandma stepped in. Shout out to grandma, stepped in, and she says she'll take the kids to school. She'll go ahead and pick them up. She got them on the weekdays for school, and they come here on the weekends. Only thing that sucks about that for me is like even when they come home on Fridays. I work all day Fridays. Well, I mean, I work all day every day except Mondays and Sundays, I guess. Sunday's my only off day, which I enjoy with the family. But because of me working so much, Mondays they're gonna be at school, so that's not gonna help me. However, Saturdays, I work all day too, so I don't get to see them Friday, Saturday. But guess what I'm gonna do Saturday when I get off work at 11 o'clock midnight? I'm gonna come wake these kids up, and we're gonna play, and we're gonna be up all Sunday till it's time for them to go back home to grandma's house Sunday night. You and sometimes I might even bust it over there just to kick it with them for a little while. When they get out of school, if I get off work or something, because I have separation anxiety for my kids. I really do. I really do. I don't know what it is, but after a couple hours of me gone, it's a problem. Junior's still here though. Junior's around. He don't have to go nowhere. Miracle goes back and forth because she just likes to feel like she's a part of the gang, and she doesn't start school till next year. But we'll let her do her thing. She's growing too. Don't want to keep her hostage. But all in all, man, all of these problems that we have going on with that, like we make a game plan, we stick to it, and we make things happen. That's just as simple as can be. Things have been going pretty well, and financially we've been doing pretty well. So I'm not gonna let this one little setback of a car really stop us from progressing as we've been doing. Um, Sometimes, or not sometimes, back in the day, I would have kind of freaked out and I would have been like, damn, like we got a lot to deal with the kids going to school. I got to go from one job to the next. But luckily, I'm off in time from one job to make it to the other job. And luckily enough, on the bus, it's only about a 45, 50-minute ride from one job to the next. So I'm either way it go, I'm still going to work and, I'm still getting being tired. I'm still going to work one job after the next job. Travel time increased by what, 15, 20 minutes? So what? Oh, well, it is what it is. I'm okay with that. I kid you not. I'm perfectly fine with that. Um, all in all, though, man, we still going to make it work. We still going to get through it. That's why lately y'all haven't seen anything from us in the last, 5 days. It all started around Easter and, things went on and it's just been a long day. Oh, but in the good news, I've been progressing in my new field of work at the funeral home, and we actually, picked up a body the other day, and surprisingly, I get why they say some of these things aren't for a lot of people, but the experience is great, and I mean, I felt okay. I wasn't worried. I wasn't tripping. It wasn't a big thing. But it's nice to be around people that want to give you experiences to help you grow as a person, no matter what you got going on. It's nice to be around a good group of people that want to help each other and nobody's trying to step over their neck. I just hear stories, and of course, we all have conversations. But that the new job is like it's. I'm gonna say this oddly enough is comforting. Yeah, that's as easy as I can say it. It's a very comforting position, comforting job. So I can't wait to see how far I go with it. How about that? That's what I can say. I can't wait to see how far I actually go with it. Um, what else happened this week that I forgot to mention? I think that's pretty much all that was been going on. Um, Dang, I've learned that I. Okay, so I've learned that I have to control my dark humor um, because I am very. I like to joke a lot, and I can be very, very dark with the jokes I make. So we were at work the other night at Kiss, and I just realized that, man, I can be very, very wild with some of the jokes I make. You know what I mean? And I gotta stop doing that. They're pretty funny, but I gotta stop doing that, man. But again, it sells the personality, it sells the look, it sells the job. I make an appearance, I make people laugh. As long as I can make people laugh, I'm good to go. Okay, now with all of that being said, we done got through the last week. I want to let that go, because last week I did mention something about cheating, and I made that little statement about if you're not married, you're single. Technically, if you're single, can't be cheated on, or whatever the case may be. Um, Today, I do want to keep my word, and I do want to go over cheating today. Also, I want to go over a couple phrases. Like the biggest thing that I want to go over is infidelity versus adultery, because I think a lot of people think they're one and the same when they actually are completely different. Um, Two different definitions. Two different definitions. Now, I got a few articles here because I want to give y'all information that's recent and stuff that we can actually talk about from the information that was given. Okay, so that way, and again, everything I say from this is all my opinions and my opinions alone. I go off of some of the research I'm going to read, off of studies that they've done, and I'm going to give you how I feel on the take. Before I say anything with these articles, you already know my take on cheating is I just feel like if you got to cheat, be single. Because what's the point of cheating, or what's the point of being in a relationship if you just don't cheat? I do understand with also, because I like to play devil's advocate, as y'all know so well, monogamy was a man-made thing. But I feel like if you made a commitment to somebody to say that you want to deal with them and only them, then cheating should be out the window. And if you feel like you got to cheat, have that conversation. If it can't be fixed, walk away. You know what I mean? Now, if they give you permission to go out there and do what you want to do, that's not cheating anymore. You just need to be respectful of what they approve for you. But if you go behind their back and do it anyway without leaving, you already know where you're at. You know what I mean? I don't care if you did it for revenge. I don't care if you did it out of spite. Cheating is cheating. Simple as that. Um, Now, although this one is from Morse Investigation Services, so these like PI, stuff like that. And all of these articles that I will read, I'm going to tell you right now, they're all based from October to December of 2023, which was the previous year. Only because we just got into 2024, it's only the fourth month. It's not really too many stats or statistics we can go off of based off that. So I'm going to go off of the stats based off the previous year, since we can get a full year from it. Okay, so with that being said, although infidelity and adultery are often used interchangeably, together, the two terms are completely different with unique meanings and definitions. To make things more confusing, you may also hear adultery referred to as philandry. Regardless of what you decide to call it, the psychological damage that it can cause runs deep, and it can cause overwhelming feelings of anger, betrayal, and may even lead to long-term depression or other emotional and mental instability. I want to take a pause on that because when people always say, well, I cheated with somebody, but it ain't like it meant anything, and then they don't understand what it's done to that person's head, because what you just planted and what seed you just planted when somebody found out you cheated on them, and I'm only speaking from experience, right, from being cheated on. You plant a seed of, what did I do so wrong for you to cheat on me? What am I not doing right? What am I doing wrong? Where did I go wrong? Did I make, am I fucking up here? Am I not being great at this? Am I not being great in bed? It's so many things you plant in that person's head, and they could be doing everything right, and you just cheating because you just cheating. But that seed you plant in their head is like, you make them overthink so much. You make them feel like they ain't shit, like they ain't worth it. Like, damn, I'm not even good enough to be faithful to. You can't commit to me because you want to be out here cheating and fucking around on everybody else. Like, that shit is a horrible feeling. Horrible. So when next time you sit up there and you say, well, why are they mad? Because it's like I fucked somebody, but they didn't mean nothing to me. It's the principle of what you did. And look, my biggest line, like I say, is respect. The way you're going to get me is respect. If you got respect for me, if you can be respectable, we can have conversations, we can have debates, we can get through anything in this world if we just have genuine respect for each other. But the minute you start disrespecting me, you no longer can tell me how I need to return the disrespect to you. Because now at this point, it's all fair game. I could do whatever I want to do. You can't get mad at me. You can't. You done sat there and you done went ahead and disrespected me. Now all gloves are off. But remember that when you tell somebody, "Oh, I don't," why it didn't mean nothing to me. It's the principle of what you just did to them, the betrayal you just caused, the hurt you just caused. You know what I mean? Even if the non-cheating spouse seems to no longer care and does not show appropriate affection or desire for the cheating spouse, it does not mean that the act of infidelity or adultery is not going to bring their world crashing in when they find out that their spouse has been emotionally or physically unfaithful. When a spouse betrays the trust within the marriage or committed relationship, I like that they use both, it can often be very difficult to repair the relationship due to the broken trust, which is nearly impossible to regain. However, that's not to say that it cannot be done. Trust can be rebuilt. Both parties must dedicate an extraordinary amount of work to elicit an acceptable level of healing and repair after an act of infidelity of adultery has occurred and or discovered. Now, again, I'll get more into that later because I want to wrap it all up, with a couple things. Now, what is the difference between infidelity and adultery? If you do not know the difference to this question, you are not alone. Many people do not understand the difference between the two. Let's start with adultery. I like this because being married, adultery will be, the first thing that comes to mind, right? So, the legal definition varies from state to state, but most often refers to the act of engaging in physical sexual activity with someone other than your spouse while being married. Okay? That means that in order for adultery to be committed, one or both of the sexual partners is married to someone other than their sexual partner. So that would be, her sleeping with another man or me sleeping with another woman. That's adultery. Now, infidelity, on the other hand, can be committed within a marriage or a committed relationship and does not always involve the act of physical sexual contact such as intercourse, but rather often refers to physical acts less than sexual intercourse and or emotional intimacy. If you know a lot of men and you realize what it is that a lot of men are missing in life, what they crave so much and why they keep jumping from woman to woman, it's the intimacy that they get during sex. The way that they get touched and rubbed on and get felt and get talked to, it's the intimacy that they get that they're looking for. That's why they want it so bad. So I say that because the next part of what it says. Now, rather physical. Okay. Infidelity refers to emotional acts which are disloyal or unfaithful to your partner, such as kissing, dating, or any other type of contact or behavior which would be deemed inappropriate in a committed relationship or marriage. Although it does not have to include physical sexual acts, the term can also be used to people who are not married to describe the unfaithful physical and emotional acts of their partner. Okay? Regardless of Many people simply refer to acts of adultery and infidelity as cheating that can describe emotional or physical acts which break either spoken vows or unwritten rules within a committed relationship. I like how they said spoken vows or unwritten rules because we all know in relationships, it's unwritten rule is you don't cheat. The term implies that the cheating partner has done things to break the rules or committing acts that they are not supposed to be doing when involved in a committed relationship with another person. And I say that because when I made that statement last week and said, by law, because most states here or most states in this country do not abide by common law marriage, they need you to have to go be married by a officiant. So technically, by law and biblically, if you're single, if you're not married, you're single. So if you're single, you can't be cheated on. But this is where that unspoken rule comes in when you commit to each other in a relationship. That unspoken rule is something I shouldn't have to tell you, you're not going to cheat on me, right? I shouldn't have to be like, hey, you're not going to cheat on me, right? Because you know damn well that I don't want you cheating on me. Simple as that. When we first came into this, we didn't come into this saying, oh, we're going to be in an open relationship, a poly relationship. We said it was a commitment to one another, monogamous. So that's that unwritten rule we're talking about. Regardless of whether you call it adultery, infidelity, or cheating, the end result is the same. The person who has experienced this betrayal from their partner, as well as friends, family members, and children, right, are are certain to suffer emotional damage as a result of the unfaithful acts of the partner who was unfaithful and unloyal to their partner or spouse. Because I tell y'all, loyalty runs deep, man. Most non-fault states, and even those with fault-based divorces, simply do not apply the same penalties of yesteryear. Most Virginia courts included. At one time in Virginia, proving adultery would serve for a basis of an immediate divorce and would act as a bar to spousal support. Although still good law, the climate in most area courts has changed. Adultery is often taken into consideration when determining spousal support. However, adultery will not always result in spousal support being denied to the offending party and may only mitigate the amount awarded. So you'll still get something, but just not what you thought you would. It is also no longer a requirement to prove the act of intercourse. The U.S. Supreme Court has ruled that it is no longer required for judges to dismiss evidence that would lead to a reasonable person to believe that sexual intercourse has occurred. In other words, there is no requirement for judges to hold someone on the same standards that they would when making a ruling for the purposes of a criminal act. Because you do know that some states will actually criminally charge you for adultery. Yeah, you didn't know that too. That's, get married, you find out. Get married and do it, you'll find out. The standard of proof is by a preponderance of the evidence, more likely than not to have occurred. This can be proven circumstantially or with actual rather than circumstantial proof. So, like you got messages showing that they may have said, it may have happened, talking about it, things like that. Now, that is no longer leave. In other words, there is no requirement for judges to hold someone to the same standards they would hold when making a ruling for the purposes of a criminal act. All right, here we go. Please, now, this information is not intended to provide legal advice, because we got to always say that it's not to provide legal advice. It's just to give you an opinion. Please contact an attorney in your area for more information on how proving adultery could impact your divorce. Hiring a private investigator with an outstanding reputation that specializes in divorce could also be of great help in developing the evidence needing. Understanding the legal difference between adultery and infidelity can be very important when considering a proper course of action when faced with such a life-altering decision, such as divorce. You will need to know the facts when contemplating your options. And then they go on contacting them. So if you're in the middle of a marriage and you want to get a divorce based on these little things going here, they got a number for a free consultation. It's 1-804-326-9669. Hey, y'all should have paid me for that, actually. Anyway, but that is the difference between them. Adultery versus infidelity. The small differences, the little things that people may or may not pay attention to, but I do. Now, with that being said, I do want to talk about the different types of affairs that can be had. Now, they have a bunch listed here, but I'm only going to go through a few of them because I'm trying to make sure I pay attention to the time so I can get through it all today. I want to make sure I hit every point. Now, if you want to, this one here is from Daryl Hunter, LCSW, Couples and Individual Therapy. Again, I try to pull from sources that are liable, sources that, are actually trying to better these situations, not just want to talk about how they can get messy. So, of course, from things like therapy, they want to tell you how things can get, where they come from, where they stem from. So you got different types of affairs. Understanding the type of affair will never excuse. I love this first statement. When I read it, I was like, man, that's perfect to start off talking about this. Understanding the type of affair will never excuse or diminish the devastation infidelity can inflict, but gaining a greater degree of understanding about the type and function of the affair may aid your processing and healing. The Zur Institute in California has identified 11 different types of affairs, which are listed below. Hopefully I can get through these quick. Types of affairs: 1, conflict avoidance affairs. Men or women who go to any lengths to avoid any and all marital conflicts sometimes resort to affairs to have their needs, which were not expressed to their spouses, met. This type of affair usually does not last long and may repeat itself several times during the marriage. So it's like they're scared to approach their partner about what the real issue is, so instead they go find it somewhere else. Or sometimes I see where they feel like they've tried to express it, but they can't express it without getting attacked for it. So they kind of just say, hey, I'll avoid the whole conflict of trying to express what's going on, and I'll go find it somewhere else. Intimacy avoidance affairs. Intimacy avoiders are frightened and therefore reluctant to be intimately close and use the affair to keep themselves at emotional distance from their spouse. The affair serves as an emotional relational barrier in the marriage. Wow. This type of affair also usually does not last long and may repeat itself several times during the marriage. When both members of the couple are intimacy avoiders, this type of affair can, in fact, help some couples sustain an emotional distant marriage. I don't think I would want to get married to be emotionally distant from my spouse, but that's just me. I feel on a whole different level, and that's just one thing I would not be okay with. So I would definitely have to make sure that, you know, we have that connection with each other because I want to be all in, like a poker game. All right, let me stop. Three is individual, so existential or developmental based affair. Middle age crises, emptiness, depression, sense of emptiness are factors that can fuel an affair. Men and women may turn to a lover to revitalize self, individuate, or mask anxiety, depression, or other unwelcome feelings that they experience as a result of the existential anxiety of facing one's old age and mortality or one's spiritual void. A partner may turn to an extramarital affair as a way to affirm their sense of masculinity or femininity. Some extramarital affairs are about yearning and loss and the freedom to enact one's own desires and fantasies, which has very little to do with the marriage itself, which is kind of crazy because they worry about their selfish needs over the whole marriage and all in all. I don't think I could be able to do that. I thought we was here as a team, baby. Teamwork makes the dream work. Sexual addiction affairs. Sexual addicts, like any addicts, are compulsive and display poor impulse control. They use sex over and over again to numb inner pain and or a sense of emptiness. Generally among married couples, men are sexual addicts more than women. Sexual addicts are compulsively attracted to the high and the anxiety release of sexual orgasm. But such release often comes with a price, feelings of shame and worthlessness. Now, I'm going to speak about when I was younger, in my early 20s, and I went through my little whole phase or whatever you want to call it. Um, I actually I felt like I did have that poor impulse control. So in order to do so, I had a rotation of women. And I've always used protection. I mean, clearly you see all my kids is with one woman, so I was always safe and I don't have no diseases I'm not worried about. So I was always safe. However, I will be honest, I was at a point where I would always be, it was the high of the intimacy involved in the sex. That's what I was craving so much. It was like I needed it. I wanted it. I felt like JG Wentworth is my money and I need it now. You know what I mean? So I'm happy I went through that though, because during my marriage, it's so easy to avoid temptation because I've already been there. So I know what to look for. I know what to avoid. I know what's going to come from it. And it's not worth ruining what I have. Trust me, it's just not. So I'm glad I went through it at an earlier age to help me prepare for it later on in life. So I'm just saying that. Accidental brief affairs. This type of affair is neither planned nor characteristic of the person. It just happens when a person is at the wrong place at the right time. Often it surprises the person who commits the infidelity. Curiosity, pity, drunkenness, and even politeness may lead to such a brief and often never to be repeated affair. Now, philandering and other individual tendencies. Some individuals are prone to infidelity, often due to insecurity and low self-esteem, and a constant need to score, conquer, or get affirmation about themselves. Narcissistic and impulsive individuals may be especially prone to marital infidelity. Many men are socialized to score and get reinforcements for womanizing. Philanderers perceive extramarital sex as an entitlement of gender and or status and often take advantage of opportunities without guilt or withdrawal symptoms. Now, retribution affairs. Sometimes one partner wants to get back at the other partner by having an affair. This may be payback for the other person having an affair, withholding money, love, emotion, or any other perceived wrongdoing. And again, like I said earlier, it don't matter what you did it for. It's still wrong. It don't matter. Bad marriage affairs. I think this is that Will and Jada. This kind of affair is a direct result of a bad marriage with poor communication, intimacy, support, or sexuality. It can also arise from incompatible cultural and familial values. When there is a marital dissatisfaction, discontent, and lack of love, one or both partners may be seeking comfort and intimacy in another lover's arms. Dissatisfied spouses who experience their partners as emotionally or sexually withholding or view their partners as easily sexualizing others or as moody are especially vulnerable to affairs. Exit affairs. Affair exiters use the affair as a jumping board to end a marriage. This can be a conscious or unconscious act intended to ensure that a backup relationship is in place before leaving the original marriage. The left partner often blames the affair rather than looking at how their marriage got to this point. Because I keep telling people, if you look at where it came from and how it got there, maybe you can attack those little red flags, that little small shit, and get that out the way. So that way you don't have to worry about it in the future. Parallel lives affairs. These kind of affairs include those who are involved in long-term extramarital relationships while continuing to be part of the original marital dyad. Examples of those are Spencer Tracy's lifelong affair with Katharine Hepburn or Prince Charles' long affair with Camilla Parker Bowles. Such extramarital relationships are often known, accepted or tolerated by the spouse and other family members, but are neither addressed nor talked about. That's crazy, because hey, some people do it like that. And then online affairs have become extremely prevalent since the inception of the internet and the proliferation of online dating, chat rooms, and pornography. Some have argued that online affairs pose the biggest threat to modern marriage since women enter the workforce fueled by what Copper called the AAA engine of accessibility, affordability, and anonymity. Ooh. The internet population seems to be exploring sexuality in ways that are unprecedented. Hundreds of thousands of websites are primarily or exclusively designed to promote and financially benefit from pornography and eroticism and their frequent derivative online affairs. I just can't talk today. I keep messing up on every word I think I know. So that just goes over all the different types of affairs that you can have, and the way that they kind of go through it. There was another one that kind of went over different infidelities as well. But in all fairness, I'll be honest with y'all, they pretty much say the same thing on it all with infidelity and adultery. They're pretty much saying the same thing. Now, this pretty much goes into trying to mend your relationship or your marriage after an affair. Because I think a lot of people, or infidelity happens, right? I think a lot of people will step to it and say they're going to end it right then and there. I broke it down, and I'm going to say, so for example, I said, I talked to Diamond and I said, okay, let's say one day I do happen to cheat. But let's say one day I do happen to cheat, but I'm against it. Let's say that again, I'm against it, but this is a hypothetical, okay? I said, let's say one day I do happen to cheat, and it was a one-time thing, and you can tell, or I can't say you can tell, but I try to do everything in my power to show you it'll never happen again, and it will, and it doesn't happen again, right? Let's just say hypothetically it won't happen again, okay? But let's say you wanted to leave me because of that, and then you would go be with a man that probably, he cheats as well, but more periodically. But he's not taking care of home. He's not helping with the kids. He's not there for you. He's not, gentle with you. He's not giving you 80% of what I gave you. He's only giving you 20% of what I gave you, and he's still cheating. So you're going to leave me for that, dealing with somebody that's going to give you worse over something that can possibly be worked out, right? Let's go off of it like that. So I say that to say that the biggest thing we talk about is cheating. And now that we look at the playing field, it's pretty even on the playing field with cheating, right? So what can you really say is you're going to leave me for somebody that's probably going to cheat on you and not do what I'm doing for you as well? Sometimes the bigger picture is maybe it's not worth leaving that person. Maybe it's something we can work on, we can work out. Maybe we can attack what brought that there in the first place. You know what I mean? Now this is from Healthy Lifestyle from the Mayo Clinic. It's adult health, because I'm big on mental health. Now, infidelity. So many your marriage after an affair. Infidelity may cause intense emotional pain, but an affair does have to mean the end of a marriage. Understanding how a marriage can be rebuilt after an affair. So few problems in a marriage cause as much heartache and deep pain as infidelity. When both spouses are committed to healing and rebuilding the relationship, though many marriages survive, in some cases they may even become stronger with deeper levels of intimacy. Right? You never know. The more you know. Defining infidelity, which we've already done, right? Infidelity isn't a single clearly defined situation. What considered infidelity can be different among couples and even between spouses. For example, is an emotional connection without sex considered infidelity? What about an online relationship or online sexual activity? Each person and each couple needs to define what infidelity means within a marriage. And I like that because I feel like anything, and I believe me and Diamond are on the same page, but I feel like anything you have to do behind your partner's back and you have to sneak or cover it up or delete stuff or anything like that, I feel like that's cheating in a way. Whatever it is, it may be different forms, but it's cheating, you know? Um, Now, infidelity can happen in all kinds of marriages. That includes marriages that seem happy as well as those with many problems. Infidelity may happen due to a variety of factors, including lack of affection, loss of fondness, love and care for each other, weak commitment to the relationship, breakdown of communication about emotional and relationship needs, low self esteem, physical health issues such as chronic pain or disability, mental health issues such as depression or anxiety, right? Addiction, such as addiction to alcohol, sex, romance, or drugs, problems that aren't addressed in a marriage. Oh, sorry about that. Let's see here. Problems that aren't addressed in a marriage, such as fear of intimacy or avoiding conflict, major life changes, such as becoming parents or children leaving home, stressful periods, such as when spouses must be apart for a long time. So you got all of that that can be taken there that can lead to a freaking affair and why they can happen. Now discovering an affair is a different situation. Now, when an affair is revealed, it often triggers powerful emotions for both partners. The partner who has been cheated on might feel traumatized by the betrayal of trust and loss of emotional safety. Of emotional safety. That's a big one. The partner that had the affair might fear that they'll never be forgiven. When an affair is first discovered, it can be hard to think clearly enough to make long term decisions. Consider taking the following steps. I like that they give you a guide on steps to take on this one, but I need my throat a little dry. This one is just like $2 for $1. I remember that. Anyway, don't make rash decisions. So if you think you might physically hurt yourself or someone else, seek help from a medical professional right away. Right away. As soon as possible. Give each other space. And this is the important one, I think, because if you committed something, you can't tell somebody when they need to be over it. You can't tell somebody when they need to talk to you about it or when they need to make a discussion. You got to let them process it. You know what I mean? So the discovery of an affair can be intense. As you try to grasp what has happened, you might find yourself acting in unpredictable ways or doing things that you usually wouldn't. Give yourself and your partner some time. Try to avoid emotionally charged discussions as you begin the healing process. Then you want to seek support. It can help to share your experience and feelings with trusted friends or loved ones who support and encourage you. Avoid people who tend to be judgmental, critical, or biased. So they're telling you that if you feel like you can trust in somebody enough that's going to be there to say, you know what, I understand if you want to stay and work it out because, of your marriage. I get it if you want to make it work. Let's see how we can possibly get there. You want to be around the positive people that can help you do that. Don't be around the ones that be like, yeah, fuck that. They cheated and you need to be done with them. Fuck them. You don't want to do that. Like, don't do it. Now, take your time. Even though you might have a deep desire to understand what has happened, don't go into an intimate details of the affair right away. Doing so without the guidance of a professional such as a marriage counselor might be harmful because everybody will tell you what to do, but they be in the same situations accepting it without doing what they're telling you to do. And now mending a marriage. Recovering from an affair can be one of the most challenging times in a marriage. This challenge may come with mixed feelings and uncertainty, but as spouses rebuild trust, take responsibility for their actions, resolve conflict, and forgive, the process may deepen and strengthen love and affection. Consider these steps to promote healing. Don't decide right away. Before choosing to continue or end a marriage, take the time to heal and understand what was behind the affair. Trust me, that healing is necessary because for some reason it's like you instead of your focus being on what happened, you get a clear vision of everything around, right? Of everything that may be affected. Now be accountable. If you are the one who cheated, take responsibility for your actions. End the affair and stop all contact with the person with whom you had the affair. If the affair involved a coworker, limit contact to business only. If that's not possible, consider getting another job. I'm gonna be real. I would want you to get another job. Consult a marriage counselor. Seek help from a licensed therapist who is trained in marital therapy and who is experienced in dealing with infidelity. Marriage counseling can help put the affair into perspective. Identify issues that might have contributed to the affair. Teach ways to rebuild and strengthen the relationship and help avoid divorce if that's the goal. Get help from several sources. Seek support from non-judgmental, understanding friends or family members. Spiritual leaders also may be helpful if they have training in marriage counseling. Reading about the topic can be useful, but not all self-help books are equally helpful. Ask a marriage counselor or other professionals for reading recommendations, okay? And then you want to restore trust. Make a plan to restore trust that may lead to a reconciliation. Agree on the timeline and process. If you were unfaithful, admit guilt and seek forgiveness. If your partner was unfaithful, offer forgiveness when you are able. Together, seek understanding. If you are both committed to healing the relationship, the reward may be a new type of marriage that will continue to grow and likely go beyond the previous expectations. Woo! I got through it, y'all. I got through it. I say that because I was going to go through the statistics of cheating, but after reading everything to y'all and reading it aloud instead of just to myself, I don't need to, and I don't want to, because it doesn't matter the statistics, because again, it's pretty much equal. It's pretty much equal. So it's like everybody's at fault. It's not right. It's not okay, and I hate it. I really, really hate it. Now I will say this though, and I'm only going to speak from experience. Um, Rebuilding trust is probably the hardest thing to do. Um, and I can't tell you how to do it. We working on it, you know what I mean? But it's a work in progress. Will it ever get back to 100%? I hope it will. And it looks like it could possibly, but you have to understand that when you want to work on something, when you want to build, you have to look at the future and you have to let go of all those past issues and know that you want the best for the situation to work out. Some of you are in situations where, and I'm not condoning cheating, but what I will say is if cheating was the worst thing that happened in your relationship or marriage, is it not worth trying to fix it? Because it could be something that you can find as a solution for that. You know what I mean? I think conversations need to happen. I think they need to be there. That whole stereotype of, men and women are different. Women will stay, men won't. That needs to be cut out. I know plenty of men that have stayed. I know plenty of women that have stayed. It's cut it out. It's not no more than the other. People stay in marriages and relationships after being cheated on. Okay, it's just a person thing. When I was younger, in my early 20s to mid 20s, honestly, shit, up until about 30, I really did not believe that if you were to be cheated on, you should never take that person back. I feel like if you got to find out and they can't come to you and have a conversation, never take them back because they cheated on you. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't want you. Simple as that. And I've always felt like then you need to move on and go about your day. And now I realize that sometimes if cheating was the only issue that you had to worry about, or if it was the only thing that happened, and again, I mean, listen, I can't speak if it's happening repetitively. I don't know. Maybe there's a bigger issue, and maybe you do need to get away from that situation, or you need to set different boundaries. I don't know what the case may be, but something, it's not a click there. But if it's a one-time thing, man, I just feel like sometimes it can be worked out. I just feel like you can get through it, and some of y'all can really sit down and have these conversations and get through that. You know what I mean? For those of you who are just doing it because y'all say it's just a sport, it's just for fun, you don't even understand the kind of damage you're doing to these people you're cheating on. Mentally, you don't understand. Because mentally, when you do that kind of damage to them, it takes a toll on them physically because they get in these moods and they get in these, how do I say it, man? These mental fights, these anxious ways that they get into all because they've been cheated on. And the only thing they can understand is that they fucked up and they did something wrong. Not knowing that you just, you like to do it because it's a sport to you. It's like basketball. It's like shooting a bucket. You do it 100 times in a game. That's crazy. You know what I mean? Y'all ain't shit for that. But understand what you're doing to these people. Understand what happens when you go around just cheating because you just feel like, I can do it. I'm big boss on it. Go find somebody that's willing to be in a relationship with you where you don't have to cheat and y'all got boundaries and respect for each other. You know what I mean? Don't go sit over here damaging these people that are just trying to love somebody, And to those of us that got, these strong hearts, to everybody in this world with lovable hearts and they just want to be loved, they won't, to love someone, they want to do right, like keep on going, keep moving forward. It'll get there one day. I'm not saying this tomorrow and I'm not saying this today, but it'll get there one day. Um, the world tends to gives us the worst of the worst, but for some reason, when we need it, the universe tends to pull through for us. God always tends to look out. Like I'm blessed over the fact that even though with this situation with our car, man, I'm blessed to know that for some reason God is just telling me, don't worry about it, y'all will be okay. That's all I keep feeling is like, don't worry about it, y'all will be good. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes some of y'all just need to have those conversations with each other and really sit up there and like, where's your faith at? You know what I mean? I'll tell you the story again. When I lost my brother, man, I damn near lost my faith in God. I was just like, I didn't know what to really say. I stopped praying a lot. I stopped really talking to him. I really just like, I couldn't really do it no more because I didn't understand why he took the closest thing I had and he just took it away from me. Ripped my heart away like that in my soul. It was horrible. I didn't understand it. And one day I looked up how small it said you need to have the faith of a mustard seed. And I looked up how small a mustard seed was, and I'll tell you that thing was smaller than that little hole right there. So small. The mustard seed so small. And I was like, you know what? I got that. That's it. That's all the faith I need to have for things to go right. And I got that, man. And I tell you what, from then on, man, life started progressing. I started rebuilding my faith. Right now, I got so much faith in the man above, the higher power. I got so much faith that it's like I'm gonna walk out of here in a minute to go to work, and I'm gonna say I'm gonna make it on time, even though I know I might be late with the Uber. But I'm gonna make it on time. I'm gonna make it on time. I got so much faith that I know that when I get to work, they're gonna be happy just to see me. They don't even care if I did show up late. I got so much confidence, faith. I know when I walk out, I feel like I'm gonna walk out into this street and I'm gonna find, I don't know, a bag or something with $2,000 in it to make sure we can get us a car. That's how much faith I got going on with it. But that's how great I'm feeling about it. I don't feel down about nothing. I just feel like everything can be rebuilt. So if my faith can be rebuilt like that, I think anything can be rebuilt if you work hard enough at it, honestly. Because if you ask people back then, I'd be like, yeah, me and God, we ain't really had too many conversations. We don't talk too much these days. He ain't really answered my question about why he took my brother. So until that's answered, I ain't got nothing to say to him. That's how it was. And then over the years when I got that, saw that mustard seed, and I was like, you know what? I felt like that. What's that? I got the power. I felt just, man, everything just started going smooth for me. So I feel like it's going to continue to go smooth for me. My family is working out great. My kids are being taken care of. We doing our thing with it. We may not be home because we may be over there at grandma's with them for a few days, or they may be over here with us for a few days and may have to go back home may have to go back to grandma's after a few hours, but whatever time we can get, we're going to make the use of it. But all in all, man, we got this. We got this for sure. We got it down. Anyway, like I say with today, man, I really hope that y'all took this as I'm not telling anyone to stay with a cheating partner. What I'm telling you is if you see that cheating is the worst thing and it is something that you can sit down and have a conversation with because you can possibly fix, I'm telling you to try to fix it. I'm telling you to sit there and maybe you can work it out. But if you got somebody that's just cheating on you and they just keep doing it, they bringing you back all kind of diseases and they just doing you all kind of wrong, maybe that's the cord you need to cut. Okay, maybe that's the cord you really need to cut. But for the most of y'all are really getting leaving these relationships and getting these divorces over things that you run right back into the next time. Because a lot of women, when they run into the next man, oh, all men ain't shit. He cheated too. Oh, so you only left the last man that was helping you build a home, build a life because he cheated. But this one can't even give you $20 to put in your gas tank. But he ain't shit either. Some of these things it's not that deep. Have that conversation. Talk and be vulnerable. It's okay to be vulnerable with each other. That's what y'all need to realize. It's okay to be vulnerable. So do that. Talk and be vulnerable and open up and get down to the real issues at hand. Otherwise, just let it go and deal with somebody that you can understand. But man, I hope y'all hear me. That's all I can say. I hope y'all hear me. I'm living life like it's golden right now, and with as many problems as we have, each one is going to have a solution. Just like I said at the beginning. I look at every problem and realize if it's a problem, there was a solution that was created for it. So, or you can be the one to find the solution for it. So remember that. But Don't forget to follow me on the socials, y'all. Facebook is Mark Quan Thomas, or Quan Facebook Jail Thomas, which I haven't really been in Facebook jail in a while because I'm doing good. Also, Instagram is Juss Quanni or Quanni702, as well as Talk is Cheap 702. Twitter is also Juss Quanni and Quanni702, and then you also got me on TikTok at Juss Quanni23, as well as YouTube Juss Quanni23. So definitely reach out and shout out. I don't know if I've ever told y'all this, but it's everywhere. The email is, like I say, JussQuanni@gmail.com. It's that simple and easy. If you need to reach out by email, that is really the easiest way to get to me is email, because I read those all the time. As soon as I get them, I read them. So don't be afraid to reach out. I will catch y'all next week, though, of course, on the hottest radio station on the planet, Hot 702.5 FM. Again, peace, love, and hair grease. I know y'all see the waves dipping and shining. I'll catch y'all next week.